Secrets hidden in the Great Pyramid of Giza, sarcophagi, and saqqara discovered after more than 2,600 years. Were the mystery of Sphinx perhaps solved? Here are the discoveries in Egypt that have shocked the world, and that will certainly shock you too. You have always been fascinated by the famous Pyramid of Giza, and like many, you would have liked to know its secrets, especially the secret of the mysterious void it contains inside. Well, today you will have some news about this void. Prepare to be amazed. A new scan of the Great Pyramid of Giza will soon be carried out, and thanks to cosmic rays, it should make it possible to discover all the still secret parts of this incredible edifice, which has dominated the Egyptian desert for more than 4,500 years. Its 2.3 million blocks of granite and limestone which compose it had to launch the remains of the pharaoh Cheops. You should know that many of its parts are still inaccessible, and because archaeologists are afraid of damaging the pyramid, they dare not venture to discover its entrails. Above all, there is this great void of 30 meters long and 6 meters high, identified above the Great Gallery that leads to the chamber of Pharaoh Cheops, which would most certainly contain treasures. The team of the Explore the Great Pyramid mission is rather confident. They think they have great chances to succeed using this technology of cosmic rays called muons, species of elementary particles similar but much more massive than electrons. They have the particularity of penetrating even deeper into the structures than ordinary X-rays would. And this is how they will try to scan in the most parsimonious and precise way the interior of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and consequently reveal what still troubles all the archaeologists of the whole world. But as the project has only just been put on paper, you'll have to wait a little longer before knowing what the Pyramid of Giza contains. Now that you know about it, I'm sure you'll spend your days looking for something new. Recently, a team of archaeologists who set foot in the necropolis of Saqqara in the Memphis region decided to excavate the site in order to bring to the surface ancient Egyptian coffins, which had been buried more than 2 millennia ago, 2,600 years to be exact. Indeed, after long hours of work, the research team managed to unearth no less than 59 tombs. In October 2020, a first sarcophagus was opened under the eyes of the whole world, notably in front of an audience of hundreds of journalists and curious people. The opening of the sarcophagus revealed a mummy preserved in excellent conditions and decorated with sumptuous hieroglyphs with shimmering colors, whose face was distinguished with finely drawn features. In addition to the 59 sarcophagi, the scientists unearthed 28 statues of the funerary god Ta-Sokar, as well as a statue of his son Nefertum. Discoveries qualified as a great rarity given the state in which they were found, knowing that they were buried at a depth of more than 12 meters. In any case, a big bravo to the team of archaeologists. 59 sarcophagi to dig up is easier said than done. But fortunately, their efforts were not in vain. And this discovery, as declared by the Egyptian Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, is only the first of a long series of discoveries for these Egyptian archaeologists. As you know, the Sphinx of Giza is one of the most incredible monuments in the world because it exudes a striking mystery and also hides many secrets. Of course, you'd like to know a little more about it. So let's fly to Egypt without further delay to land at the foot of this breathtaking structure. Two historians, Malcolm Hutton and Jerry Cannon, have made some very disturbing revelations about this site. They firmly believe that the Sphinx that lies on the sand of the Giza Plateau could be the gateway to a labyrinth of tunnels, passages, and a whole underground metropolis that has been lost to the world, but in truth hidden by the Egyptian authorities. In their book, the two men declared that the first time this lost city was mentioned, which at the time was estimated to be 4,000 years old, was in the front page of the Sunday Express newspaper in March 1935, and that since then no more news has been given about it. What is certain for historians is that under the Sphinx there are tunnels that lead to a secret point. Everybody would know about this, but nobody talks about it. First of all, because at the time Egyptologists were more interested in the tombs of the queens than in these tunnels. Hutton and Cannon believe that the hole at the top of the head of the Sphinx, as well as other openings on the structure, could be entrances that lead to this lost city. But these openings seem to have been intentionally concealed by the authorities. The authors also state that the head of the Sphinx seems to have been made with an artificial material and that it has been modified since its construction. This one has almost no damage or erosion, unlike the rest of the body, which is made of eroded limestone and clearly bears the marks and vicissitudes of time. which leaves room for doubt. Unfortunately for the moment, it is impossible to investigate these statements because the authorities block access to the doors of the Sphinx, under the pretext that the chambers are either blocked or full of water. Are we trying to cloud the issue? I know that you are disappointed and that you would have liked to satisfy your curiosity, but remember that one day the truth will come out and it will be as obvious as the Sphinx itself. So be patient and wait for the right moment. In 2015, Cédric Gobiel, director of the French archaeological mission Deir el-Medina, was in Egypt to explore the tomb TT290. What a surprise when he discovered an incredible mummy, quite different from those he is used to find. To help him, he invited an American anthropologist, Anne Austin, to his side. The latter is the first to examine the mummy, and she notices as soon as she discovers it that it has neither head nor legs. It seems, however, to have the body covered with tattoos representing motives of the pharaonic Egypt, a first in the history of the archaeology. These tattoos had been carried out more or less as they are done today. That is to say, by injecting a blue-black pigment into the skin. This woman must have been between 24 and 35 years old when she was mummified. She has a large tattoo on her neck and several others on both arms extending to the elbows. The large tattoo represented two seated baboons, figurations of the god Thoth, having a prophylactic function, as well as several undulating cobras. In addition, there were some flowers and two cows drawn opposite each other. According to the hypothesis of the Egyptologists and the anthropologists, this woman who lived about 3,300 years ago, that is to say, sometime after the reign of Tutankhamun, was certainly a priestess or a musician of Hathor, or perhaps even a magician, since she was the only one among all the mummies to be tattooed. The Egyptologist will unfortunately not know the truth about the life of this mummy, at least not for the moment. But he will have been, on the other hand, the first to find such an exceptional mummy, which in itself is very gratifying. Marcina Ozorek-Zilki, an anthropologist archaeologist, and her husband Stanislaw, a Polish Egyptologist working at the University of Warsaw, were X-raying 2,000-year-old remains in the National Museum in Warsaw. They thought they were researching a mummified priest when the X-ray images revealed something unheard of. Indeed, the X-rays revealed small bones belonging to a fetus, which suggests that the embalmed body belonged to a pregnant woman. According to the couple, the woman was between 20 and 30 years old and was 26 to 30 weeks pregnant at the time of her death. The couple of anthropologists and scientists involved in this project were unable to determine why the fetus was not removed before mummification. But they did hypothesize that the woman was probably trying to conceal the pregnancy, while it was initially thought that it was the sarcophagus of a priest who lived between the 1st century BC and the 1st century AD. In view of the hieroglyphs that it contained, scientists now believe that the mummy of the woman is even older. This will thus push them to determine the time in which she lived, but also the possible causes of her death. A long work for these researchers. Anyway, it is worth it because this exceptional mummy, the only one recognized in the world with the fetus inside, will allow them to open new doors of research on pregnancy as well as on the practice linked to maternity in ancient times. One day, researchers on a Spanish-Egyptian archaeological mission set foot in Luxor with the aim of studying tombs in the necropolis of Dra Abu el-Naga. But while digging in a tomb, they make an incredible discovery. They find a coffin, an offering chapel made of clay bricks, and a heap of materials from funerary equipment. Objects that probably date back to the 17th dynasty between 1648 and 1530, somewhere around that time. Upper Egypt was controlled by the 17th dynasty, that is the Kingdom of Thebes. The pharaohs of this dynasty were buried in the necropolis of Dra Abu el-Naga in the ancient city of Thebes called Luxor, located on the western bank of the Nile. The anthropoid coffin, carved from fig wood, plastered with lime and painted red, was carefully placed horizontally and measured 1.75 meters by 0.33 meters. Inside, there was a poorly preserved mummy, that of a young girl of 15 or 16 years old, resting on her right side. She was adorned with jewelry including spiral earrings covered with a thin sheet of what appeared to be copper. The deceased also had two rings, one made of bone and the second of metal with a blue glass bead, in addition to a set of 4 necklaces attached with earthenware tongs. All this undoubtedly reveals the high social rank to which the mummy belonged during her lifetime. Next to the girl, another small coffin containing a Ushabti, a funerary statuette very important in the Egyptian funeral ritual, on which was inscribed in simplified hieroglyphic writing the name of Osiris Jehudi, which would probably be Sekemri Sementawi Jehudi. an ancient king which wife's tomb was discovered in 1822. These finds must certainly have required a lot of effort, but they are so precious and rare that it was worth it. The researchers did not leave the necropolis of Dra Abu el Naga empty-handed. In the Lubuskie voivodeship on the outskirts of the city of Garzo in Poland, archaeologists were on a mission to make new discoveries in this area with an extremely rich historical past, when they found something unexpected. While excavating the soil, they found a collection of ancient bronze artifacts. According to the scientists who examined the objects, they are undoubtedly related to the Lusatian culture, a prehistoric culture that owes its name to Lusatia, located in the northeast of Germany. These discoveries would be old, of approximately 700 until 1100 years BC, which a great part had religious meanings. Among the objects found were 5 bronze vessels, 6 wheels, and 6 elements belonging to a miniature chariot or wagon, in addition to 24 buttons and fragments of the vessel in which they were found. According to the investigators, these rare objects seem to have been hidden in a hurry in the hope of recovering them later. But they do not have, however, more information to reveal to the archaeologists, which is a little bit of a pity for the latter, who would have liked for once to have the preeminence of right in front of Egypt as regards archaeological discoveries. In any case, these artifacts are just as surprising as the archaeological discoveries in Egypt, which is a first for the Polish archaeologists. And to succeed in discovering all the secrets that these objects hide, they will now have to roll up their sleeves. Now tell us in the comments what you think about these things discovered in Egypt. Do you think this country still has many secrets to reveal? Tell us what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and click here to watch another of our videos.